Hey, welcome to Chak and Baba. Hey, my name is Bernard Muhammad. Hey, who introduce yourself tonight?
Hey, what's up, Mr. Muhammad? This is Baba, one of the hosts at Chak and Baba. How you doing, Bears Banner family?
Oh yeah,
Lead a consultant. Excited to be here. Thank you for the invite. Just really trying to give the consultant side and the consultant point of view as it relates towards all sports talk.
Okay. Hey, we'd like to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. We're broadcasting on the Bears Banner platform. This is the third episode of Chak and Baba. Unfortunately, Chak had an emergency, so he's not going to be able to make it tonight. But hey, lead a consultant and Baba GD is going to handle it. Hey, we're going to do a little Pittsburgh Steelers talk. Hey, this past weekend, man, it was one of those do or die weekends. Had to face off with the Ravens, and the Ravens did something that I've seen a lot of teams make mistakes doing, and the Bears, I remember years ago, did the same thing. They rested their players. And let a division opponent in. You know, they don't mean division opponent wasn't winning, but you gave them a high opportunity, and the Steelers may bite them in the butt. It might not the Steelers, but the Ravens. This may bite them in the butt. I mean, y'all got a recap on that game?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said in the first episode, Coward knows how to scheme against within the division, and especially with Baltimore, they're pretty much replicas of one another. We know each other very well. When they sat Lamar, I knew pretty much this was a game we were going to win. Mm-hmm. We played against Huntley very well, and it was a solid game from what we've been doing that gives me optimism going into the playoff, and that is continue to lean on your run game with Jaylen Warren and Najee. A lot more power blocking, getting to the second level, and I love the fact that they are putting Najee in the pistol, something he's probably been running our formation since the fourth grade. Alabama, and then with other coordinators, they didn't run him in and out, which is a strength. We're starting to do that. We're starting to really have an attitude on the line, and I think that's something beautiful. As we continue to build on that, we have a cyborg on the outside in Pickens and Rudy for president. But go ahead, consultant.
President. I think in terms of sitting, I totally agree with you. I don't think they should have sat, but I get where they're coming from, right? Look at the last couple of years. Lamar's been hurt. This will actually be the first year in the last 2 years that he's going to have an opportunity to be able to actually start for them in a playoff game. Let's not forget all the running backs they've lost this year as well. J.K. Dobbins was lost early in the year. He lost to young boy Edwards. So they're running thin on that. Mark Andrews still isn't all the way back yet. So I understand why they sat the players. I guess that's what I'm stating. Don't agree with it. I think you go out there and play because now you're going to be out for 2 weeks and hopefully you get some rhythm. But we'll live. They'll live to see another day and we'll see ourselves. But to talk about the game. Real quick, I definitely agree with leaning on the running game. Had 155 yards between our two backs, so that's definitely a win. But you still have to go back to they didn't play all their players. They didn't play their full unit. And Rudy for president, 134 yards doesn't make me say he's president. I'm sorry. Just saying, and 18 for 20 for 134. Not calling them Trubinsky, but that's pretty pedestrian average yards per pass, if we'll say the least. So in terms of us moving forward, I like the optimism, but what we've seen is what we've seen. We're backing into the playoffs, and I know you're not aware. My brother will tell you anytime I'm not a fan of anybody needing someone to lose to get into the playoffs. I'm not a fan of backing into the playoffs. So back to your question, don't disagree with them sitting them. I would have sat them as well, but we won 17-10 against the third string players. Hold
on, let me look at kind of view. Okay. So look going into this weekend. Now we're into wild card weekend. We got some pretty good matchups this weekend. Let me go over some. I'm gonna pull this up on my phone. We matter of fact, you have a division opponent. The Browns playing the Texans on Saturday. The Dolphins against the Chiefs. That's gonna be an interesting game there. Those teams, at least in my opinion, I want to comment on that. They're both trending downward. You know, the Dolphins seem to me to have a problem beating teams with winning records. And the Chiefs have had a problem just squeaking out a win recently. They have a lot of drops, etc. I see they kind of getting desperate. They trying to get Eric Bieniemy back for this game. He on another team. You can't hire him right now. Who else you got? You have Steelers. Steelers and the Bills.
Yes, sir.
Packers and the Cowboys. Rams and the Lions. The Eagles and the Buccaneers. Any of those games y'all want to comment before we get to the Steelers and the Bills?
Go ahead, Lee, the consultant. He normally covers Chak and Baba from an NFL perspective. Go ahead, Lee.
Okay. I think that Chiefs Dolphin is intriguing. Both kind of trending downwards, but I think for different reasons. I think the Dolphins are trending more downward due to injury on their end, but Chiefs have just. I understand why they want Eric Bieniemy back. Right? They want that old thing back, as they say. They haven't been the same since Bieniemy's gone. And Redskins is a whole nother conversation. We can always talk about how he's done in progression with the young guy over there, but it's a different trajectory downward for the Chiefs because it's been kind of all year. You think about Mahomes, he's been himself, but then you look at all the drops, right? You look at the receivers not being available, and Kelsey's lost in a Taylor Swift sauce at the time, so he hasn't really been able to really kind of be up to his standard, right? But on the Dolphin side, it is more along the lines, I would say, injury-wise. They sat more, the running back more. Let's keep in mind, he's leading the league in touchdowns, right? So they have a good running game, but he's a little bit banged up. They just got Alcine, I think his name is, back a couple of games ago. So if I were to say between those two, I think the Dolphins take that. Just based off the fact that they do have that running game, and the Chiefs defense to me is really kind of Chris Jones and Bus. So I think that the Dolphins are able to pull that out, but you never know with Patrick Mahomes, man. I wouldn't bet against him.
Hey, I see a note from my co-host of my Bears Banner Talk Show, Jay Beasley. What's up, Jay Beasley? Hey, and happy Founders Day to Phi Beta Sigma. I know it was yesterday, but man, Jay knows football. That's my guy there. Yes. Jay. Hey, the Chiefs, those are some great points that you made, Lee, about the Chiefs. It seemed like Kelsey is distracted, and the team seemed to be unraveling too on some things, right? You're kind of seeing like that pressure, right? But you know what? When you win the championships, the pressure comes with it because you want to repeat and you want to hold that crown. It's like in heavyweight boxing. The guys that's ranked 10, they don't have no pressure. They could talk all the smack they want. They're not even ranked. They're not really a real, they talk all the smack to the champ, but the champ is everybody's coming from the champ. So they won last year. I believe they just starting to feel some of that pressure. Well, was there any other games y'all wanted to comment on?
Yeah, go ahead, Lee. I'm here strictly Steelers. Anything else outside of Steelers, Lee got
Dolphins was one of them. I'm thinking the Browns are intriguing. The Browns are intriguing, man. I think that's a sleeper team right there.
Yeah,
just because of the defense, right? It's the number one overall defense in the NFL. Arguably, I say not, but I've had to respect people who tell me that Myles Garrett is the best edge rusher in the league. I've argued them, but some of their stats make sense, right? If I'm going to be honest and just be impartial, but I think with Flacco, wanted Deshaun to do well, and I definitely was rooting for him to do well. But I think it just goes to show when you have a good defense, you just really need a quarterback that can read the field, that can try to limit turnovers and make the play when it's there for them. With them having their running game, don't even have Nick Chubb. They don't even have Nick Chubb, right? They brought back Hunt, they have Ford, and they're still top 10 in the league in rushing. So I think that's a team for me that I think is intriguing, especially if they can get one under their belt. I think it's watch out for whoever they come up with. Nobody's going up and down the field on that defense.
Hey, Lee, I agree with you. I had actually a few weeks ago, I picked that team as one of the sleepers in the playoff. I mean, I don't know how the bracket's going to match up, and if they get out of this weekend, I'm kind of expect they might end up being in the AFC championship game. They're clicking on all cylinders. I think in this game with Myles Garrett and the boys, CJ Stroud is going to hit that rookie wall. That normally happens when you had that bad game with 3 or 4 picks. They're going to probably harass him like Michigan was harassing my guy, Michael Jr. That's my guy too, Michael Penix Jr., but Michigan harassed the heck out of him.
Man.
The next game I see is the Rams and the Lions. This game, I'm gonna take I'm gonna go ahead and say, unless they Lions this up, Lions have a way Lions things up. I picked the Lions to go ahead and win their first playoff game probably since Barry Sanders days. No, they got one with Matt Stafford. I think they got in one other time on the Matt Stafford. So I picked them to kind of go ahead and get that first playoff victory that they haven't had in a long time. And this is going to be interesting because it's going to be the battle of the 2 ex-quarterbacks, right? They used to play for each other team, right, before we got traded. What you got, Lee, on that?
I think Rams now that's another team that's really got hot toward the end of the season. They've really been clicking. The young running back, I think it's Williams. He's been coming along, but yeah, I think I got to go Lions. I like the way they've looked going back to last year. I love their coach. Just he motivates them. Right, you could tell he knows the right thing to say, and he believes in them. And he uses his weapons as well. You think about how, and when they first got Goff, he was looked upon really as a bust. And I say, how can you be a bust when you took a team to a Super Bowl?
Correct. I say the same thing. He wouldn't a bust. I say the same thing.
So I don't get that. But he's played well. The better of the St. Browns, I will say, Amon, the one that's in the Lions over the one in Chicago. That
was a true Pro Bowl snub. If that was somebody that people might have said, hey, now I'm a Bears fan, I would have loved to see DJ in there, but DJ does not go before Amon St. Brown. No, it's about two. He balls, yeah. He's the real deal.
He definitely balls. So I agree with you. I definitely think the Lions take it. I'd be happy to see him get one. It's been a while. You know what I mean? Been a while for the city. I wish Chak would have been able to be here. He'd tell us how Detroit really feels about it, as far as possibly being able to get one. But I gotta agree with you there, bro. I think the Lions will take that one.
Okay. Hey, thank everybody for tuning in to Chak and Baba. Like I said, this is y'all third show. And they talk Steelers all day. And as the Bears Banner channel expands, we're going to add more and more programming like this. Man, let's get to the game of the weekend, which is the Steelers Bils. What you got, Baba GD? I mean, I know you feeling it.
Hey, I had to let Lee, the consultant, really provide some expertise around the league. But in Rudy, I trust. I'm going to begin, I would say, my message saying, Rudy, we truly, if the Steel organization hasn't apologized, I will apologize. Rudy, thank you for being a professional. Rudy, thank you for enduring. Rudy, thank you for coming to work every day despite Rodney Fichtner. Thank you for coming to work every day despite Matt Canada. Thank you for coming to thank you for coming to work every day despite how you were treated by Ben. Thank you for saving the season, for getting Mike Tomlin a get out of jail free card, even though you've been in the quarterback room for 4 to 5 years. So thank you. So in Rudy, I trust. With that being stated, we have an added dimension. We have a good game manager that can take timely shots. And as long as we are doing what we're doing very well now, run the ball to keep people out of the box, we in the box to really give us chances on the perimeter with Pickens and Frymouth and DJ, we have a shot. We're working. We're all behind Rudy, so I really I like our chances. It's gonna hurt not having TJ Watt there, but Heisman's gonna have to really hold the fort down. They know each other as well. They used to be college roommates. Both of these guys facing each other. But I think since we have an added dimension with Rudy, they're galvanized behind Rudy. And to some extent, Tomlin has something to prove now. He hasn't been productive in the playoffs. Now, could you actually keep these naysayers quiet with actually a good, productive playoffs? So I'll give it to us 27, because we're going to put up points. 27-24, 27-24, I think. I have the Steelers taking it and moving on.
Okay. What'd you say, Lee? I mean, I heard you quote some stats earlier.
Yeah.
Rudy, and I know, everybody, y'all Steelers fans, man, but he sounded like Peyton Manning came off the bench, Is he talking about? Or he talking about Rudy that was on Notre Dame? The old Notre Dame movie.
Yeah, man, like, Terry Bradshaw or something, right? I'm not sure. No, but he made some great points. I have to say, he made some great points. I think, being a professional, he's been there. He's been there this whole time, and unfortunately, he never really got a shot. We got small sample sizes, and in I guess I could say in a fan's defense, the sample sizes that we saw weren't that good. But we're not in practice every day. So it makes it kind of hard for me to be able to say that you sat through practice for 3 years and you didn't see that he was at least a number 2 over Trubisky. So I do think that what he brings to the table as far as being able to sit behind Ben all this time, being able to have a live arm, he's a lot more accurate than what he was earlier. I think that was part of his problem before. He's a little bit inaccurate, but now he's not forcing things as well. So I think added dimension, yes. Does it make us a little bit better? Yes, but we still have to deal with the reality of who we are, right? And we backed into the playoffs. I know it's probably going to be a running thing with me saying backing in, but it's true, right? We backed it up into the playoffs. So a couple of things, right? And if we go off the Bills, who were playing another team that's gotten real hot lately, I'm not sure if everyone's aware. So of course we always know, Josh Allen, right? Got 4,300 yards, but James Cook has 1,122 yards rushing this year. Quietly, right? We know Stephon Diggs is going to give us numbers. He has 1,183. So the offense has been clicking late in the year. What they've always been missing is a running game. We've always talked about, man, if they could find a way to not have Josh Allen being their running back, right, that's what was going to be able to take them over the top. And man, they came up on one with James Cook. So I think that added getting hot. Again, a couple of things, right? So the Bills, while losing a lot of people, we talk about the Steelers losing a lot of linebackers. Let's not forget they lost Milano, right? They're a linebacker who's really good. They lost Tre'Davious White, all-pro corner, right? They lost Jordan Phillips. So they've lost some players along the way and still ended up with the number 9 defense in the NFL. Right? Number 4 scoring offense in the NFL. Look across the table with the TJ, balled out this year, right? 21 overall defense this year is the Steelers. After, as much as we scream TJ bookends, defense is bottom of the pack this year. right? And our offense, God help us, is 25th overall. So we can't really expect to say that with us backing in, we're going to, Rudy we trust is going to be a Peyton Manning to be able to overcome that. No, I don't think that at all. I think we put up some points, but I think they put up points as well because our back end is pretty bad. So we could put up 31-14 them is what I think it ends up being, especially with TJ being out.
Okay. And you know what? Hey, Bobby GD, I got a question from you, and this is I'm going off a little bit of that Lee just mentioned. In the NFL this season, you only had 6 running backs that got 1,000 yards, right? And I'm gonna say this: one of them wasn't BG Robinson either. That's another story with the Atlanta Falcons, right? Drafting a running back in 8 or 9 last year, and they need a quarterback. Somebody needs to be fired. Not that
he was. They fired him. They fired the coach.
Oh, no, I'm talking the GM.
Oh, yeah.
When you take a running back that high, you still need a quarterback, and then you come back the next year, you draft it again, and you need a quarterback, right? You should have got you draft people in the proper position that they're supposed to be in. Running backs are
value.
The value is not there. But anyway, you have 6 running backs that had cracked 1,000 yards, and he was one of them. Buffalo's running back. And Josh Allen has 29 TDs. He didn't slacked up on some of the turnovers. I mean, what do the Steelers do to stop a running game and a passing game that they're gonna bring? And Josh Allen, he gonna try to run people over. It's just in his nature. He can't help it. He's like Big Ben back in the day when he was trucking people. So what do you think? How they gonna handle that, GD?
Well, like Lee already stated, we are weak on the D line. We need a zero technique, we need a nose guard. Cam is my age, still playing DN. The Benton kid is coming along, but we need depth on the D line, and then also our middles. We're down to our 7th-string middles. You know what I mean? We got Jack back that left, but we reclaimed him back. And then Roberts is really a run-stopping linebacker, but playing Abraham, he has to scheme. This is a scheming game. They are going to attack the middle in the pass game. That's the tight end. They're going to do a lot of posts because of our back end, like Lee alluded to, is a whole bunch of people off the street, and we have middle linebackers off the street, and so we're just going to have to scheme properly. But I think right now we're going off a lot of adrenaline, kind of like that team in March Madness, it just got hot from the conference tournament all the way through. You got to go off of your adrenaline, and sometime that adrenaline, you may be able to steal a game or two. Who knows? The biggest thing is we have to lean on Najee and Jaylen Warren with good ball control football, and where you're controlling the clock. Now you are really putting Josh out. You don't want Josh Allen them, winning the time possession game. So let's help our defense out, get good, long, sustained drives, and we have to scheme. Obviously, we have to really protect the run because we have a running quarterback. So it's a scheme game. And like I said, Tomlin has something. He should have be ready to really, really perform well from an X's and O's perspective due to all the naysayers. They said, hey, he's won this, but what's his playoff record? He has to be listening to this, and he has to be able to put forth a game plan to put the players in the best position to win. So my pick is off of them riding off of the emotional ride of Rudy. Lee's pick is that of a consultant. As we can see, he's breaking out numbers, but I'm going from a gut feeling. This is in Rudy we trust.
Yeah. Hey, why we'll mention this? I mentioned Josh Allen. Josh Allen still will give your defensive backs some opportunities. There's only one person in the league that have thrown more interceptions than Josh Allen this year, which is Sam Howell. So even though I mentioned the 29 TDs, he got 18 interceptions. What's interesting about that? That's 1970s. Mm-hmm. That's 1970 football, to be honest, right? Where the quarterback having almost 20 picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a running game and they didn't really ride the quarterbacks like that. If you want to be a
Mm-hmm.
lead quarterback, your numbers really, once you start getting over the 10 or 12, then we need to start looking at you having 35 to 40 TDs. Because 29 and 18 is almost for every touchdown. 2 touchdowns, you got 1 pick. Yeah, so
that's
gonna be some opportunity.
That's the gunslinger mentality he has too. So he's a runner, Tebow / he wants to be a Brett Favre as well. Talented wild arm. So those type of guys, as you could attest to it, with the quarterback that you guys had, Cutler, they just try to fit it in right all the time and make that wild throw. But gunslinger and threat as a runner. In my opinion, to stop that, you have to disguise what you're doing up front. You have to put a hat on a hat and 2 feet in the gap, and ensure that you are controlling the line from a run perspective from Cook, and then also when he takes off. So this is a big game for Tomlin. I think I am believing he would have something to prove in this matchup.
Okay, so in this matchup, if I'm looking at the brackets right, the winner of this game plays the winner of the Chiefs-Dolphin game. So, man, that to me, in my opinion, that favors the Steelers well if they get out of this weekend playing those 2 teams, because the Dolphins to me is a finesse team. Right, and they got a few injuries. In the NFL, finesse teams don't work in the playoff normally, because that's when they get physical and then, hey, people ball out, man. This is when guys going to come and they pressure receivers. They're not going to let you get free releases, in the playoffs. So that's our favorite Steelers. But anyway, let's talk about what if the Steelers don't win. If the Steelers don't win, what's going to happen with Mike T? I mean, let's go back to that question. What's going to happen if they don't win?
Back to our first episode, I think they part ways whether we make the playoffs, as we are, and now. He is a commodity. The Bears would want him. I've talked to a few Bears fans; they would love Mike T. Just come off with a couple of your first round picks, Bernard. We got a deal. But like I've stated before, he's a solid coach. I'm not going to say he doesn't know how to coach. I just think the time here in Pittsburgh, it's like Ryan Clark has said, it's past his time. It's a regime and we have to point in our organization where we really need to rebuild. From an identity perspective, we have the young tools in place, but there are just different variables that need to be in place. Like he met it. Like when he came, he had an infrastructure already in place where we had winning football already replaced. Bruce Arians was his offensive coordinator who had been here close to a little over 10 years, close to 10 years, that really built that offense for Cowher. He came in like a Phil Jackson and managed that situation. So, and then he had another guy, Todd Haley, high experience, ultimately led us to some good deep playoff runs with great teams with Le'Veon and AB. After that, and we brought in Canada, that's when you could kind of see some chinks in his armor. But to say that he's not a good coach, I would disagree with anybody that says that. I just think right now, if whether we win, lose, or it's a tie, he could help another team. I'm not going to say that he can't stay here. He can stay here, but the thing is do you trust him with the organizational decisions? That's the biggest question now. Do you trust him? Because he's made bad organizational decisions with Matt Canada, with Mitch Trubisky, and with Mason Rudolph. Those are that's a sample set he's given us. So with that being stated, I think he's not pushing the right buttons here, but he may push the right buttons elsewhere and win a Super Bowl like Andy Reid. So that I'm not saying he's a bad coach. All I'm saying is I think the dance is up for both partners dancing.
Okay. Hey Lee, what do you think about if the Steelers lose? I mean, would that jeopardize Mike T's future as a Steelers coach?
From an organizational standpoint, I don't think so. I think he comes back. That's just kind of how the Steelers do. We don't know when the relationship's over. Type of deal. So especially with us making the playoffs, I think they bring him back if he chooses to come back. In terms of the organizational point of view. Now, as far as for Mike T, he has options. I mean, he could, I saw some reports where he may sit out for a year. We all know people would love to have him on TV. Keep in mind, Sean Payton got 17 mil a year to go do TV work, right? So does he want to go through the grind of being a head coach? And he's not getting paid peanuts. He's getting 12 and a half a year, right? So he's still getting paid good money to actually coach. But in terms of what I would do, I would definitely look to see if the Bears want to give up some picks. That's something I would want to look into, because I would love to get Mike Vrabel on staff. I think he would be a
good point
fit for us. As far as it comes down to, if we keep Tomlin, if we don't, what's the identity going to be moving forward, right? What's the philosophy and the culture of the Steelers going to be? Is it going to be 155 yards rushing the game as a team, and that's what we're going to focus on? If that's the case, bring him back. Bring him back, right? Bring him back. Put the offensive coordinator in place you feel is going to be able to stick to that philosophy, be able to make sure that's the mindset from training camp on. And I'm not a fan of the D coordinator, right? Get a D coordinator on there that has the mentality as well. We're going to smack you in the mouth. We're going to have linebackers going sideline to sideline, and we're going to put people in the position to be able to be successful. So if that's the case, then why not? He's a great motivator. I mean, I think they'll run through a wall for Tomlin. You know what I mean? I think the young boys will run through a wall for him. I think the vets will run through a wall for him. And that's really all you want from a head coach, right? You want them to be able to know when to push the buttons, be able to know when to say the right things, when to reel them in. And you want to make sure that your offensive and your defensive coordinator are doing their job towards what the overall outset of an outlook of what the team should be. So I say bring him back. Bring him back. He has one more year left. See what we can do with what we have, build off of what we finished off the end of the year with, and see how it turns out.
Okay. Hey, thank everybody. You walking Chak and Baba is a Steeler podcast. We getting ready for Wild Card Weekend. So Chak and Baba actually broadcast on the Bears Banner platform. Hey, did y'all have any more comments about that, or are we just gonna wait to see how the weekends unfold?
I mean, he said in Rudy we trust, right? So we'll see. In terms of that, but I mean, if we get past them, I don't see it. I don't see us being it. The Chiefs possibly, but I don't see us being able to beat the Dolphins because our back end's pretty bad.
Yep.
They're
okay.
Kind of.
Let me see what's.
Yeah. I mean, to Lee's point, that's how we've been losing games. It's not. Meaning that's how we've been getting gashed by the defense. If you have a good tight end, if you have a good slot, they're working the middle of the field on our defense because we have two pedestrian people at linebacker and pedestrian back end. So with that, it's a patchwork of a back end defense from a middle linebacker perspective. In regards to Lee saying bring him back, that's where I disagree with the consultant. He's a numbers guy, Mr. Muhammad, as you can see. Mm-hmm. He's a strictly numbers guy, and I can't blame that from a consultation perspective. But I have that gut. We need to patch. We need depth at the line, both lines, with gaps, with wasting draft picks, with a Kenny Pickett, even to a Najee extent. We have to start getting depth from the trenches on out. So we still need to patch up the left side of that line, depth on the defensive line. That's why, like I said, we need a nose guard. We've always had solid nose guards, zero techniques in our defense. Joel Steed, Casey Hampton, Wobble a few years ago, Hargrave. We need to get depth back in the line. That's why, in my opinion, just my humble opinion, while he's hot, while Tomlin is hot, everybody thinks he's the next coming of George Halas and Chuck Noll. Let's see what we can get out of him. Get some stuff out of them, and let's patch up those areas.
Hey, if they give us the Gruden special, I'll do it. If they give us the Gruden package, they can whoever they have for the Gruden package. Now I won't turn that down.
Hey, drop something to them, Nutty. Let's get a deal going. Let's get it going.
The Gruden package, we can talk now. Come on,
we can talk.
You know, in reference to me, he has a good coach. Trust me, good coach. I think he know what to do with a quarterback, and the Bears has a history of not knowing what to do with a quarterback. So I'm not trying to bring in a coach who can't figure out Mitch Trubisky is not a starter.
Don't do it like that, Nutty. Oh my goodness.
And you had an opportunity last year when you tried to start him off the season and realized he couldn't start. Then you come back this year and you're going to double down on it, right? It didn't take you a few games to realize. And then you can't even come out in public and actually say he can't play. You start saying something like some of the players are still in September and we're in December. Something like that. Like, what are you
Tomlinisms.
Hey, but anyway, hey, great show, guys. And if you're still a fan out here, please tune in to these brothers' show. I mean, Chak and Baba is going to be, this show is going to blow up. I mean, this is going to be one of the amazing shows that talk about Steelers and Steeler Nation. And you're going to want to be part of this rise with them as this show get more and more viewers. And why not be there when it is being built from the ground up? So, all right. And so until next time, we out of here.
Steeler Nation.